Hello class, and thank you for joining me. I apologize this video is a little late. I've been unfortunate to catch one of the many sicknesses going around my school, and finally am starting to feel normal again. For this discussion of the postbellum economy, I chose to focus more on J.P. Morgan and use some primary source material from the Morgan Library and Museum and the Library of Congress, as well as the Morgan family records. My goal is to provide an overview of Morgan's life and his experience during the postbellum period, including his impact on the American economy, especially his role in the big banking and finance during the postbellum period, leading into the 20th century. Morgan, born John Piermont Morgan in 1837 to the wealthy Morgan family, J.P. Morgan had what would be considered a very well-off upbringing. He was guided most of his childhood by his father, and after completing a very extensive education pushed by his father, began working with his father for the merchant banking firm George Peabody and Company. And throughout the Civil War, the Morgan family continued to be involved in trading through their New York office and made substantial profits through the purchasing and selling of bonds, specifically Union bonds during the Civil War. He also made a very controversial sale of gold during this period and made a huge profit, which helped him become very well off during this time period and made it very well off during the start of the postbellum period. This is when Morgan began to diversify his holdings and look beyond banking and the finance world. He began to see the possibilities in American industrial interests by purchasing some of his own stock in the steel and railroad businesses and industries. He continued his banking and merchant career with what would become the Dabney Morgan and Company. In the late 1860s and 1870s, JP's business ventures began to focus more on the railroad industry, which was going through its own boom during this time. His focus on the railroad industry eventually led to his role in seizing the Albany and Saskatchewan Railroad in 1869. And into the 1870s with Drexel Morgan and Company, he became a key person in helping get European investment to the U.S. and led the financing for much of American railroad system. He also helped stabilize the financial markets during this time after the Panic of 1873, which was triggered by the failure of the bank J. Cook and Company by refinancing the federal debt and helping the U.S. government deal with the aftermath of the panic. In the 1880s, JP continued to focus on railroads and helped develop and finance the national railroad system with the goal of reorganizing and consolidation to help increase efficiency and creating a larger business. In 1883, he began merging in markets from the New York Central Rail Line. Later in the 1880s, he did this again with the New York West Shore and Buffalo Railroads and with the Philadelphia Reading and then Chesapeake and Ohio. He would continue even more with other business interests, helping to create consolidations and mergers, such as with General Electric Company in the late 1890s. J.P. Morgan played a major role in the American railroad industry and ultimately is known for his part in big finance and banking. His financing would enable many of America's industries to grow and boom during this time period. Again, he is known for helping stabilize the American economy. In Milton Friedman's article, The Crime of 1873, Morgan helped restore faith and confidence back into the American financial systems in the 1870s and again during the Panic of 1893 to 1895, where Morgan helped create a plan to save the U.S. Treasury. By 1900, Morgan negotiates with Andrew Carnegie to create another merger with Carnegie Steel and his own Federal Steel Company, for which he created with the merger the United States Steel Corporation, which would become the world's first ever billion-dollar company in 1901. Morgan had substantial impact on the postbellum period, in which his decisions and business maneuvers helped his businesses thrive. Today, many associate J.P. Morgan with banking because of his ideas for investing and lending money to different businesses and the U.S. government, which gave him the considerable role in expanding American business within the United States during this postbellum period, which has forever stamped his name and connection with American banking and economy.